My first year was cosmetic chemistry, where I did a year doing perfumery. Then I did my chemistry degree, and then I worked in industry. And then I learned over 20 years, and I found at home, I should have brought them in, so I used to make fragrances and people used to come to my house and buy them. So I used to, like, for virtually nothing, in little bottles with no branding on at all. And that's how my brand started. It's always through people smelling on someone else. Where have you bought it from? What is it? So that's how it started. Without having my presence on YouTube, we wouldn't have a business. I was doing this for about 10 years before, and I was selling in 2 independent perfumeries, and pretty much the moment I went on YouTube, the next day it took off, and it took off very, very fast, and in a way I didn't even know what to do. Yeah. And I was working from a small unit, a small room, and I had to really quickly figure out what on earth to do, and so I had to then rent a space in a cosmetics factory and borrow their staff. And I had to learn very quickly how to do it. The growth was next day. COVID has actually had a really good impact as people are shopping online. So we had a massive spike and growth, very quick growth. That actually was the worst thing about COVID. I thought that if I get it, I'll lose my sense of smell. So that to me was like, I think that to me was the worst thing I could think of, which I thought, if I lose it, it's not only myself, I have 4 members of staff. And what we do, like I make up the concentrates, and because I use naturals, I have to sort of make sure that it smells all right. There's a maceration period as well. Some of the maceration is like the maturing process of some of the fragrances as well to create, it sort of rounds it off. But I get the final say in quite well on everything. So if I lost my sense of smell, I don't know quite, there'd be that inconsistency in work. The crazy process is, it will be either a music related, it'd be music, or it'd be a name, or it'd be a concept, or it will be what I'm trying to do. It sort of all comes together very fast in my brain, and I think I've been thinking of it for months before. So I think there's this process going on that I'm also quite unaware about, this sort of background chatting, talking about stuff, and then it's up there. So the Asperger's brain is sort of really hard, like wired with sort of chemicals and fragrance and putting stuff together, and it has to try lots of stuff. It's like a child, really. But it's, yeah, so there's 2 sides to the brain. I have these sort of 3 sides: the conscious self, I have the Asperger's self, and then I have like the neurotypical brain. And they're all sort of communicating together at the same time. But the Asperger's brain is what does the work, actually. So it's all like a continuing sort of thing. The speed at which I make stuff is very fast. It can be very fast, or it can be very, very time consuming. So sometimes it can take up a year to finish something. Like Forbidden took me, I think, 8 months to make. It was absolutely exhausting. I was working on it Christmas Day, Boxing Day, right the way through the whole holiday, 8 hours a day, and months before and months after, and just I make up 5-litre concentrates, and because it wasn't right, I threw it 3 times down the drain, because I won't release stuff that doesn't work. I just won't do it. It's just that, and that's that level of obsession that I've got to get things. How? So you asked how do I do it? I will generally, my brain will have a finished result, and I have to work towards it. So it's almost like I'm reverse engineering something in my brain. So like I've got a finished, so I'll be inspired by something, and then my brain will create a fragrance, and then I'm working backwards to it. So I'll make the initial skeleton of it very fast, one go, and then I spend however long it is finessing it, and generally it's adjusting 1 or 2 things and then coming down, hold out your arm. So if you work for me, I sort of come to say, and you're constantly like that. So I'm testing stuff on people continually, and that's one reason why my stuff's different. I never use testing strips. I'm using myself and real people continually. I think transparency in the perfume industry is important, and at the moment there isn't that transparency, and companies can try and maximise profits by either using no oud, rose, jasmine, or they can use it at trace amounts, and the consumer has got no way of understanding what they're buying. They just trust marketing, but it's not apparent in any other part of the cosmetics industry at all. You can't, in a facial moisturiser, saying this contains gold and not have it in there. So there's no consistency within the fragrance industry. So what I'm trying to do is bring awareness to if you are saying something's in there, it should be in there, and it should be at a amount that's not a drop in the ocean.